we go. Thank you for coming in tonight. We are missing a couple of people, but I think we're still fine, right?
You are still fine.
Okay. Thanks for coming. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
The first thing we have on our agenda is to accept the meeting minutes from December 2nd. Do I have a motion?
Motion to accept the minutes.
Thank you, Scott.
Second.
Thank you, Mo. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. Now we have Marilyn here from the Council on Aging to do the budget. Do you want to go through your budget with us?
Sure.
Okay, it's number 5410. And I think you know the drill. We just kind of focus on any big changes or anything that you want to tell us about, please.
Sure. I suppose that the first change that you'll notice is in salaries. Excuse me. We were hoping to add a new hire to the administrative staff. But what's happening is the outreach is all our focus, of course, but it's become so large and so overwhelming that it has pushed administration kind of in a corner to try to get things done when you can, because this comes first. And so we'd like to have at least a 19.5-hour part-timer. We would love to have a full-timer, but I don't think that's a good idea right now. But we'd like to get somebody in there to just kind of ease the burden it's just myself and Connie that do the administrative work, and she's busy with Meals on Wheels, which is an outreach function. So we're hoping to move that into the outreach department, and she'll be able to function a little better. The person would also take the front desk, because we won't have anybody at the front desk any longer, and to have somebody there at least part of the morning into the afternoon to answer. That's when the busiest time is, to answer calls and greet clients. Other things too as well, administrative duties.
Did you lose someone?
We did not. Some of the things that I've taken on and that Connie has taken on happened to us with attrition and the death of a good friend, Muriel Goucher. I don't know if anybody remembers Muriel.
Yeah.
But she had the entire duty of the Meals on Wheels program, and so that came to me. And then in the meantime, I was promoted, and it just wasn't possible. So when I hired Connie, she took it, and she's having difficulty keeping up with the newsletter and everything else, with having that on her desk as well. The numbers have risen dramatically for that program.
So do you have any numbers you could share with us about, how many people you're serving or what the increase is like?
I can, from the top of my head, I just did an annual report for a grant. We're doing between 28 and 30 Meals on Wheels a day, and that's the largest it's been since I've been at the COA. The numbers, all I can tell you is that during open enrollment, Wendy and a volunteer that also was Shine certified took over $38,000 that saved the consumer. In other words, she changed their insurances and whatever enough to save that much money, more money in their pocket, which is miraculous.
Guiding them to the health plan.
Yeah, exactly. And the Medicare, Part A, Part B, and then what kind of insurance is the best partner for that, for your medication.
Yeah, it's complicated.
So it's
you have to go through formularies and all kinds
yes,
Yeah, it's really
it's
complicated.
quite a grueling class that they have to take to be certified, and you have to be recertified every year. So I believe it's every year. So it's not that's run by OCES at this point.
So you have a lot of people coming in for that, and that's
A
what's
lot.
driving this need.
That's what is causing this. A lot of this backup of
So
work.
that's, what, a 3-month period?
That is, and then what's happening also is that the baby booming babies are turning 60 and up, and
I'm one of those,
and they're coming in, a lot of them at a time when they need to find out about Medicare and what they need to do for that, and that's several appointments a day.
So that this person would be a Shine person?
No, this person would. Fran is the Shine assistant
the Shine Counselor's Assistant,
Does
or
she
I'm not
do-
going to call it
actually
Shine,
do-
we'll
She
call
actually
it
does counseling and so forth?
Outreach Department, and that's beyond Shine. For the rest of the year, it's beyond Shine. That's when people come in for their, to determine what they do with their Medicare and that kind of thing when they turn 60. That's throughout the year. Whenever they turn 60, they come into the COA.
Right.
So
So
is the,
is the crunch period really the open enrollment period, or is this an all year round?
The
need that
biggest
you have?
crunch is open enrollment, for sure,
Mhm.
every year.
Mhm.
It takes the attention of all of us to get through that 3
Mhm.
months.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, it happens at a time when I have a lot of annual reports to do for grants, and then all of a sudden, boom, it's budget time.
Mhm.
So it's just very stressful.
Mhm.
But the rest of the year is also getting busier for that department. So what would happen, Fran would move into more of a Shine assistant role, and this newer person would take some of her responsibilities as she's doing that is not involved with Shine.
Okay.
So your notation says addition of a full-time position.
This
but
is what I was hoping for.
That's what you're budgeting for is full-time?
Yes,
Okay,
that's what I
see.
was hoping
All right.
for.
So that's the 41,000, or?
The last one, 31. The last one under clerical.
I see
To be-
41,025. That
That's the
includes the raises
increase.
too?
That
Raises.
includes both.
Yeah.
So
Oh.
that's the step increases, COLA increases.
Oh,
And the
yes.
additional
Yeah.
person.
What would the additional person be, do you know, for 19 hours roughly? Is that what you're
No,
looking
yeah.
for?
Yeah.
Would be how much, do you think?
Well, I was hoping to hire them at $20 an hour.
20?
Yeah.
And just to let you know, it was at 30 hours.
Yes.
Right,
30
so it's
hours?
Yes, this,
So it's under the benefit?
No, it's,
No.
she's looking for full-time, 30 hours, so that's about $31,000. So about $10,000 is current staff with
Yeah.
whatever their increases
Right.
are. and
So
then
31 for 30 hours roughly?
That is correct.
Yeah.
And the benefits are covered by the town?
Yeah.
So are you seeing mostly West Bridgewater residents, or do you have a mix, or do you not really track that?
we try very hard. East Bridgewater and Bridgewater and West Bridgewater share a lot of clients. It's like their circuit. Oh, today I'm going to lunch in East Bridgewater. Tomorrow I'm going to lunch in Bridgewater, and so we're very happy to share clients. Some of West Bridgewater goes to them as well, and we have kind of a fun time with all of that. They compare, and it's just like it's kind of hilarious. But if they do come in and they're regulars of ours, we try very hard to help them, but we urge them to go to their own outreach departments in their own town.
Yeah. Okay. There's a change in the property maintenance, I think, janitorial line?
Oh, okay. Yes, property maintenance,
Am I looking at the right line?
Yeah.
Maybe not.
It says a contract change, it looks like.
5240?
Yeah.
yeah. So it was approved for $20,000 last year, and we were requesting $16,500.
Mhm.
That's a decrease of $3,500. Excuse me. That's because we've come down to 1 day a week instead of 2 days a week, custodial cleaning, that type of thing. And we've pulled back from 4 times a year doing the floors stripped and waxed to twice a year. And that seems to be working right now. And as things pick up, we'll have to revisit that, because if we have more traffic and more rock salt coming in and that kind of thing, then we might have to revisit that at another time. But I think that we're good to go for the time being with all that. So I reduced that.
Okay.
How about dues and meetings, Marilyn?
Yeah, that was a question last night, too.
Hmm.
We in October 2020, well, to precede that, we had our tracking system was through a company called COA Tracking Systems. And it was one man developed it, and one man was the maintenance person. And we called him because we were having a little bit of problem with it. And so we called him for help. He was always right there, either by phone or he would come down.
but he never responded. I even went to his town's obituaries to see if maybe he had passed away. Couldn't find him, and he didn't respond to our calls. He didn't respond to emails. I even sent him a letter. So we got a little panicky, and we need a tracking system. So most of the COAs in Massachusetts deal with a company called My Senior Center, and I think we were probably one of the last, maybe half a dozen in the whole state that used coats at that time. So I called them and I asked them to come down and give us an estimate and tell us what it was all about, and they did. And we had it installed in October 2020. It's working beautifully, it's perfect, and they are with us via email. Any questions we have, it's an immediate response. And because of that, and because they're so good, they charge $1,800 for their annual maintenance and fees. And we kind of need that, so that's why it's $2,000 more in that line item.
I'm still a little confused. The 2,000 before was for the original system, and your dues and meetings.
You mean the approved 2,200? No,
Yeah.
that was for other things. That's for, if we go to the annual conference, Wendy and I, that's for,
Okay.
many times Wendy will have to travel for meetings, and her gas comes out of that line
But
item and that kind of thing.
that's the 4,400 request this year?
Yes.
You're expecting,
Well, that's because of the 1,800 we're adding to that line item.
oh, you're putting it in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then your gas is down, which the price of gas is up, so that's curious. Are you not driving as much for?
Down to one van.
We're down to one van, and we're not running it as often. We're not doing trips.
Right.
We're just picking people up to shop, doctors, CVS, and come to lunch. And I didn't change that because I'm hoping that that's going to pick up in 2020, 2023.
So if by some chance the 19-hour person didn't get approved, what would happen? Would you lose services somewhere?
She's
or-
asking for a 30-hour person.
30, I'm sorry, I had 19, yeah.
Sorry.
Would you be turning people away, or?
I'm just afraid, my nervous edge on that is I'm afraid we might lose our edge on our customer service. We'd have to meet behind closed doors. We wouldn't have the open door policy. We wouldn't be able to maintain the programming that we currently have.
Okay.
So if you had to go to appointment only, you feel that would,
Well, that's what it already is.
It is.
It already, well, for Shine and Outreach, it's by appointment only, but Wendy likes to leave her door open, and our regulars just think it's okay to walk in and say hi and then sit down with her for half an hour. You've seen that happen, haven't you, Mo?
Yeah. Well, you're inclined to do it, which I am.
but that might not be the best use of their time. You know.
Shooting the breeze?
They're not shooting.
No.
They aren't doing that. They're all nervous. They all have questions. They all get this stuff in the mail that they don't understand regarding their insurance.
Sure.
It's
I
a
understand
legitimate
that.
question, but that turns into the give and take on how are you doing and
Yeah.
how's your mom and
Sure.
yeah.
Right, yeah,
Yeah.
and that is what a senior center is about.
True,
Right.
absolutely. And it's not just helping them with the outreach moments. It's very social. The difference between people and how they're feeling about themselves now as to when we first started the first lunch after we were shut down is a huge turnaround. They needed it so badly.
Yeah, isolation kills
Yeah.
people.
Oh,
We
yes,
know that.
absolutely.
Do you find that a lot of them don't have family support as
Yep.
well?
Many times.
Yeah.
It's sad. Many times. We have a direct line pretty much to the police department and OCES services because it's a sad time.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Mm-mm.
On this
Just my
budget?
last one, just to make sure I'm clear, I'm just reading the notes next to it it says 2 additional full-time, and I did hear 19 hours too, so I just want to clarify. Are you looking for the one full-time for 30 odd hours, or are you actually looking for two full-time at 30 hours?
One full-time.
One full-time.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Two would be great.
Well, I'm reading the notes,
But
and
you
I know
said
I'm gonna come
19
back to
would
this
do it?
later and be
Yeah,
like,
I
was it
think
two
it's
or was
like
it
one, note 1 is contractual
Got it,
step
got it.
increase,
I
note
can
2
see
is.
how-
Oh, yes,
yeah.
I
yes,
can see
yes.
how
Yeah.
I confused that. Thank
Okay.
you.
I did the
Just
same
thinking.
thing. Okay, any other questions? Well, it's nice to see you. Thanks for all you do, and thanks
Well,
for coming
thank
by.
And I just want to say this, Marilyn does an excellent job.
Oh, we agree.
You know, the water department, library, and assessors are coming in, they don't answer to the Board of Selectmen and myself.
Yeah.
But Meryl, the COA does, and she does an excellent job. I am so proud every time I walk into that facility of how well it's run.
Yeah.
All the people down there are very happy, the food is excellent, and there's a reason why she has such a good following. So
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you for everything you do.
Well,
Yeah, no,
Thank
I
you.
agree. And
It's-
Wendy's
it's,
wonderful,
I
too.
was teasing you the other day when I said I found a water spot in the bathroom, by the way. That was teasing.
I know that. He came out of the men's room and goes, I have a complaint. He said, there's a water spot at the counter in the men's room.
Place is immaculate.
I know, it is.
Marilyn
We've-
does a very good job with excellence.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had meetings there. It's been great. So
Yes.
you don't think that you still need all that cleaning, given the, you know?
We're going to have to pick up the pace a little bit as time goes on, as we get more and more programs back into the center. Right now, we're still limiting it with numbers in the dining room and at different activities.
But you still think your budget will be okay?
I'll make it be okay.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you all very
We
much.
could use all that magic in all the departments.
I know.
That magic, we could use that.
Thank you, and have a great weekend, all.
Thanks, you too.
Okay.
Stay
Bye-bye.
safe.
Stay well.
Thank the team for us, for the great job they do.
I certainly will. It is a team effort, for sure.
I don't think water is here. Let me just peek around the corner, and if they're not, do you want me to do the small budgets?
Sure.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
They're not here.
They're not here? No.
13,
Okay.
15.
So we're gonna go to 1350?
Yeah, let me just, let me text Wayne and let him know.
Glad you have all their numbers.
Hmm?
You can text them all.
Okay, so I'll do the smaller budgets, I mean, town account's a medium-sized budget. So the town account budget, 1350, is up 2%. Basically, the only increases in that budget are both contractual for the accountant, part-time, the part-time accountant, and the part-time secretary to the accountant.
Yep.
Line 1510, town council, I've been able to keep the budget flat year over year. We don't use it all, which is good, but level funded at $87,000. The veterans budget is up 1%, about $695. Again, the only real change in it is, for the appointed official or the secretary, which is contractual.
Mhm.
Cable TV committee, level funded at $1,100.
Hang on one second. Let me catch up. 1560. Okay, that one's level funded. Okay.
Next budget, 1750, is the planning board. It's up $428 or 1.6%. Again, the only difference is just for the secretarial increase at the 2%. Come on in.
This is it.
Absolutely, come on in.
We did those, we did cable, we did planning board.
Yep.
Want to do Board of Appeals?
Sure, so Board of Appeals, the only difference, up $101 or 1.7%. Again, just for the 2% for the secretary.
Any questions on any of those budgets?
How'd you derive the 2%, Dave?
That's what we did at town meeting last year. We gave everybody 2%.
Okay, that's right, yeah.
Rent control board, only change is that, again, for the secretary, which is 2%, that's only $83, it's peanuts.
Yeah.
So that's a 1.8% increase because the budget is so small.
1920.
1920 is the ADA committee, level funded at $500. And the municipal building needs committee is level funded at $1,486.
Perfect.
Great. Any questions on any of those budgets?
Nope, pretty
Nope.
straightforward.
Pretty straightforward. Wayne,
Howdy.
welcome. How are you?
Did your group get smaller or something? It's
We're
We're
down.
missing a
We're
couple.
We're down 3 tonight.
missing a couple of people.
I came for a fight. I was exercise, running, get myself.
Take a deep breath. We're not the enemy.
So let me get to yours. 4,500. Somewhere in here we have 4,500. What do I do with it? I just had it.
I liked it better when you had your iPad. You had problems scrolling around and finding everything.
I
It made
know.
it easier on us.
You know, this
This is much better than one.
I know.
Problem was, you could
Only
listen to the person, and you're like trying to find
yep.
everything in the meantime.
It's shifting
Easy
over
to
this way,
write
over
it
that
down.
way, zooming in.
Write it down.
I don't know
No?
what I did with this page.
Did you find it?
Yeah, I must have got my pages out of order. Give me 1 second here. I apologize.
You lost me. This was a good year
There
to
you
sneak
are.
something in then.
I found it.
It's hard
Just
to
took
sneak
me a
it by
minute.
3 people.
Hey guys, how are you? I found it. You're
Oh,
on. Go
all
for
right.
it.
All right, so I'll just go over the lines that changed.
Okay.
All right, so we all know that prices are way gone ballistic, so,
I
All right.
hadn't noticed.
I know. If you don't have to buy gas and you don't have to eat, you're all set. So I'll start with 5111. So that actually has 2 salaries in it. That's been rectified. It's been broken down. There's another line been added because the GIS
Okay.
person got moved into it because she's an appointed official.
Okay.
So that actually contains 2 salaries.
Okay.
And the water department only has a percentage of hers. So I didn't get a 131% raise, even though I think I'm worth it. I
So,
didn't see too many smiles on that end.
No,
Okay.
I'm trying to digest what you're telling me. So how many hours does the person who does the GIS,
Honestly, I can't tell you.
I mean, how much do you have to pay for it?
So I have to pay for her. I can answer that. I actually have my sheets in there. They haven't flown all over the place. Of course, they're not in any order, but. How come her line doesn't have anything on it? Well, that's not good.
so is that-
$29,225
Is that
what I
Deborah?
pay. Yes.
Yeah.
Is that per, by the hour or?
No, that's it's I don't know what the amount of hours are, but it's her salary. It's a percentage of her salary, and I don't know what the percentage is
Shared by
either.
different departments.
The
Yeah.
DPW and us
Over here
share it,
too?
yes.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
highway pays some, the
Yeah.
Board of
Oh,
Health,
yeah, yeah,
It's,
everybody chips in.
okay.
Oh, so this is just your portion.
That is correct.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
Okay. So your salary's in here, so it says a 31% increase?
no, I did not get on it. My salary is 110,743.36. I'm supposed to have these extra numbers at the end, so I don't have round numbers.
Okay,
So,
That's a 4% raise.
4%. Okay,
I assume that's your contract, right?
Yes.
okay, got it. I think we're on the same page now.
Sorry, it took me a while to figure it out.
Let's see, what do you got next here?
Clerical salaries, she's new, so we're just advancing her. She'll just be indexing up through her grades.
Okay, is that just a time?
That's contract, so that's,
Time and grade thing, or?
yeah.
Okay.
The
And
labor pool, so we're a 4-man crew, we're gonna add in an extra person. We're spending a lot more time with our treatment plants and hopefully adding in another treatment plant, so they require a lot of time and effort.
Okay.
So one person?
Yep, so we'll be adding in one person, yes.
So I
It
think
says
when,
new hire 5 technicians.
So I'm currently at 3. I lost somebody
Oh,
to another
okay.
town. And so we're gonna be hiring another person, so there'll be 5 techs in total. I'm supposed to be 4. I'm currently at 3.
so you're replacing one and adding
Yeah,
one?
yes.
So I think when we talked last year, it's like a struggle to get them because.
Yeah, it took me 2 years to get the person we have now, and hopefully we'll retain him. Yes, it's a matter of massage. We do a lot of electromechanical instrumentation, chemical wizardry, and hopefully everybody likes the water.
Yeah.
So we do a lot more. It's not the old days you could pump it up in the ground, throw a few chemicals in, and you could go about your business, but it's not that way anymore.
So how are you managing being so short-staffed?
So I'm a working superintendent. I multitask, so I could have 10 things happening in my mind at any one time. Kind of craps because I have to try to remember to go back and finish the things that I'm multitasking on. But I've managed.
But ideally, you wouldn't be,
I like to be.
I know you do. Yeah.
But yeah, ideally I wouldn't, I'd just get called on for some technical things. And as we get the new guy and the guys learn, I'm trying to expound on them what I know and trying to get them to learn on their own.
Mm-hmm.
And they are. It just takes time.
Sure.
You can't walk in and just, it's not like driving a car or anything. You can't walk from one thing to the next.
No.
Okay, so the office manager?
So she's budgeted for a 3% raise. 2 would be cost of living and 1 would be goals. She has salary.
Now, how does that relate to the 2% that the rest of people get? You just decided you want to give her, across the town, it's like 2%.
A while back, the town went with goals with the salaried people. We just follow suit.
So years ago, we went to a base COLA increase.
Yeah.
And also goals as well. The reality is that you could get anywhere between 2 to 3.5%.
Okay.
So you may remember 4 or 5 years ago, some department heads were getting 2.5 and some were getting 3. If you deciphered that, it was because that person hit his or her goals and that person didn't.
Right.
Yeah.
We got away from it 2 years ago because truthfully, as people started to hit all their goals because they focused on them,
Sure.
everybody was starting to get 3.5% increases.
Yeah.
And their salaries were starting to get to the high end.
Yeah.
And so the Board of Selectmen, I consulted with them and just said that we have to start going to just a flat fees. So that's why we started going to the 2s. The water department since then had used that system. And
I
so-
missed my goals last year, so I did not top out.
So obviously it's, the water commissioner set the salary for the superintendent and for the office manager. So if they choose to continue to employ that, then that's what they choose
Yeah,
to do.
it's a separate, I keep forgetting it's a whole separate entity.
They have a
that's-
separate
yeah.
board, yeah. And then the longevity goes with,
As people
that,
get,
right.
longer here.
okay, and the retirement,
All right,
workers'
so the
comp,
next
all that
like
stuff.
5 are, let's see, 3, 5. Yep, are the town, those numbers typically don't come in till near the end, just before town meeting. So
Oh, okay.
I kind of budgeted, I took the old numbers and finagled them and added to them just so that I could
Mhm.
cover any increases that might come about.
So,
what-
will those get adjusted,
Yeah,
right?
So Wayne's entirely correct. So either he puts in a number or he keeps a level fund and I have to add it in the number. But once I get everything back, I get everything back from the insurance companies. They'll rate the insurance policy. I hope to have all the information in before town meeting, but then I'll make the adjustments. And I have to let the water department know, but we'll go to print with those new numbers.
How about the allowances and stipends? There's a
So-
pretty decent jump there.
Yeah, so we have a new guy who's now going through his licensing. He's acquired one, he's in the class for the next one. You can't index through until you have the classes, it's regulatory.
Mhm.
So as hopefully he indexes through right away and climbs to the top. Hoping that my next person, if I can poach somebody, or if I can't, then I have to index them up and through, and I have to have the money to back it up to pay them and retain them.
So,
Would the goal be to then try to hire somebody who's gone through all the licensure and you just hire them at a certain level?
So
I don't.
typically, poaching somebody from another town is kind of hard because we don't pay at the top end, we don't pay at the bottom end either. But getting somebody to move once they're settled in and have their vacation time and sick time in place, but you can negotiate. I've been negotiated and told that I could be bought out and match whatever I have, but we could do the same if we want to get somebody really bad. You just have to make sure that they're good apples.
so I'm just trying to follow. So the request is for 4,500. Is that because we cover those fees for the current employees and you're looking to increase it for potentially?
Future.
Yes, it's gonna, as I know that my current new hire is indexing through, so he's already acquired one license, he's in the class for the next. When he finishes that in 9 weeks, he can then go start indexing, taking his
So just by finishing the class, you get a
exams.
raise?
Well, he doesn't know. He has to take the exam, pass the
right.
exam, and then have it go through the board of licensing and them approve it.
Okay.
So is this for additional pay for them or to
Yes,
pay
it is.
for the
No, it's
fees for the
additional pay.
licenses?
It's additional pay
It's
to them.
additional compensation?
It's a stipend, yes.
Okay, just want to make sure. Okay.
And
Thank
all
you.
of your people go through classes.
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Yep, and we're required to take classes to maintain our license also. We all just renew our licenses and all had to have X amount of credits.
Right.
Okay. Equipment repairs and maintenance?
My prices are going through the roof. My pump prices, like I can pay almost $100 for a little plastic fitting now.
Yeah,
It's
if you can even get it.
yeah. I ordered pumps in November. They just shipped yesterday, and luckily I didn't need them.
So is this is enough?
So this
though?
is to cover if you look, I already in 21 I overspent it. It was 40,000 on a line that was only budgeted for 27.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying, is that, you think,
We'll see. If not, we'll find a way.
okay.
If I came in and asked for 150%, you'd be grilling me, I'm sure. But I think we can make it.
I'm sure we would. Preventive maintenance?
Once again, I spent 57,000 on a line that was budgeted for 32. And I'm just trying to keep up with it without looking like if I take too much money, then that affects our rate. So
Yeah.
I have to find a happy medium.
So how are you covering those overages because like you didn't hire the guy that was budgeted for
Right,
those
so if it took me longer, then it's a bottom line budget, then
Yeah.
it'll come out of somewhere else, then there's something else I can or can't do.
Yeah.
So do you think you're covering all the preventive maintenance that you need to, or do you find
So,
you could do more?
well, I'm hard pressed to do it because we're down a well while it's being replaced, and we were down on another piece of equipment for 3 months waiting for a piece of equipment to come in, so I can't take things offline. So we're a standalone utility. When I can't produce water, I can't get extra, like police have.
Yeah.
They can go to other towns and fire can go to other towns. I have nowhere to go.
Right.
So
I guess my point is that, I don't think there's anyone doesn't believe in preventive maintenance.
Right. I do all of our
And
preventive
if you need
maintenance.
more money to do it, you get it. That's
Yeah.
all, simple as that.
I do all of the preventive maintenance I can. The ones I want to do is the wells, but I can't take it offline until I get it.
Oh, so it's not dollars?
Right.
It's
It's not
really-
dollars holding me back.
Okay.
Okay, engineering services?
All right, so if, obviously you must live in town, so you all got the notices. We hit a so we were non-conforming in our water supply. That required an engineering stamp. My line was only $10,000, I believe. Now I gotta find that line again.
Yeah.
Yes,
it was.
yeah, that's right.
And
Now it's doubling.
yeah, well, I'm going up because I need to cover that in the future should it happen. I can't tell when it's gonna happen. Like, they just suddenly sprung PFAS on us and enacted the law. And, You know, luckily we're under again, so, but it's,
So it,
because I went above, I had to hire an engineering firm with a stamp to
yeah.
do the documents for.
So I got a letter yesterday, are you saying it's dropped below that?
So if you,
I just go in this.
if you read the letters, so in the so in October, we had a 22 out of Manley Street, or a 22.1.
Yeah.
After that, we were in the 19s, but the averages for the quarter, the 3 months, October, November,
Okay.
December, it's still,
Made you report.
right, because it was above the 21,
Okay.
so it didn't average under.
So
But
what
since October, November, December, January, we've been under.
Okay. So what are we doing about that? Isn't there some
There is a
thing in the
long and
works?
short-term plan being worked on, so it's nothing, you can't fix it right away. DEP has to approve it. We've submitted things, and they're looking at them, and they're pushing back on the engineering firm to do it, but the regulatory, you don't want us playing, experimenting with your water, because it's something that touches you every day, so they watch out to protect the public. So they're looking at it, and we're waiting on, they're looking at the length of the filter bed for the short term. We have a filter that's sitting idle at the plant. When it was built, there was an extra filter. So that saved us having to order a tank. And they have a plan to use that tank with the IX media, which will remove the PFAS down to 0. But the Mass DEP wants to know how long it's going to last, because there's not a redundant filter beside it. So when this one expires, that I can flip over. That means I have to shut down, or I start producing PFAS water again. And they don't want to see that. So
this is the result of the engineering that we
Yes.
paid for last year, or?
Yep,
Ongoing?
yep.
Okay.
It was one of the 2 articles, yes.
Yeah, okay.
So you lost me a little bit. So we have a filter, but
Yep.
we can't turn it on until the DEP approves us turning it on.
Right, they
Because
want-
if it fails, we won't have a backup.
Right, yes, they want to see redundancy. And I have redundant equipment. So like when a piece of pump burns out, I have one sitting on a shelf waiting to go in. But
So do you have another one?
I do not have another
You don't have
filter, and
another
you can't, might take me a year to get one ordered. Everything is gone, the supply chain is
Yeah.
broken at this point. And, they're certified, they're pressure vessels, so they're
Yeah.
certified vessels. So you don't
Okay.
just pick one up off the shelf.
So in the meantime, they won't let you use the one we have?
No, but they're approving, we're a long way through the approval process, because we were ahead of the curve. Once we saw PFAS, we tested early, we knew we were right at the number, we hadn't gone over yet. So the commissioners jumped right on it, we hired the engineering firm when we were ahead of the curve. So we actually, all the other 80 to 90 plus towns that went over when they were forced to test, now are scrambling to hire engineering firms. And we already have the pilot study people set up, we're just waiting for DEP approval so that we can move forward.
And I don't suppose they have a timeline for that approval?
No, they don't have a timeline there. But they are looking at it, and it's on their front burner.
And that's the short term?
That's the short term. There is a long term right with it, and that's already been sent in too.
Okay. And
So the
that
plan's been
is-
established and it's been submitted, is that what you're saying?
Yes,
Okay.
so it's just for them to look at it, and they actually rejected the long term. We resubmitted it with it, but they told us the 5 points that they were rejecting it for, which was nothing more than an engineering stamp wasn't on a drawing, backflow preventer wasn't shown on it. These are preliminary drawings to get going, and they
Yeah.
looked at them as the finals, and that's not the
Okay.
case. We want to get moving, so, because there's long-term lead times on buying the equipment. It's a big modification to the plant.
So we can't even order that stuff until the
Till they
DEP
approve it,
comes-
right, because if they
Okay.
say no, well, then I just spent
A lot of
a
money.
lot of money for nothing.
Okay.
We don't even have building space for it.
Right, they're gonna have to add on to the Manley Street plant to do it.
So am I hearing capital budget requests coming?
And probably not yet, until we get approvals and we get hard numbers, but the number is somewhere around 1.2 million for that plant.
And so we're just gonna have to borrow that?
Hopefully we can grab some. I've been sending out packets to all of our legislative people with letters asking for this money that I keep hearing about, but I keep hearing them talking about bridges, roads, and like under every road is a pipe. How about including the pipes?
I wonder if you couldn't slip it in under the new vulnerability program. That
I
we're
have
getting
watched
approved
everything
for.
that's come out, and everything is pointing, I can buy land to protect my wells, I can do anything except what we need it for.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a couple of billion, well, you were
Oh, yeah,
there.
I was there.
Maybe under that new program, there
Yeah,
might
but
be some
I
money.
think he's right, though. A lot of that is more about the softer stuff, like the
Right.
aquifer protection.
Yes.
They were saying the real construction type things, that's not really getting funded.
Right.
And our new rep is not helpful.
I haven't sent that person, I have the name, because when you look online, I kept searching online, it still points us to, our old one. But
Yeah.
I heard the name at my commissioners meeting, but I haven't been able to get to it yet. I'm hoping to break free tomorrow and send off the packet to this person.
Okay.
Although, just in full disclosure, I mean, I think Michelle did help us.
Yeah.
She was very helpful to us. She got us $100,000 towards this existing
Which
program.
is good.
And the other thing is that Michelle is our state rep until, for the end of this year.
Oh,
The next
okay.
state
Yeah, I
rep
don't
doesn't
think
take
it's changed
until
yet.
Oh, okay,
2023.
okay.
Well, that's helpful.
Well, we'll take the 100.
Yep.
Keep trying for more, right?
Yep.
Okay, where are we?
Data processing services.
Data processing
5303.
services. Yep.
So we spent 9,942 out of a 10.5 line, so we're approaching it.
Okay.
The networking technology, that's a town thing,
What does that mean?
So it's done by, so it's a town supply, our internet, phones,
Oh,
or it's a shared
Shared,
service.
Yeah,
So I don't control that, but that's an actual number,
okay,
So you got that from Ed?
yes.
Okay.
okay. 90%, what is that?
100, so I
Oh.
used 3 labs.
To test
All
all for the
3 labs
PFAS?
sent me letters for testing, and I've been testing for PFAS. It started off at $450. I think I'm paying $575 for a test right now.
Okay.
How often do you have to test?
So
Like
I'm
once a
testing
week?
monthly at Manly because we're above,
Yeah.
they consider 10 the threshold that you begin testing monthly. So every month I spend $575 to test.
For each well?
Just for Manley Street, and it's,
Oh.
the combined is the finished water. The other wells are all under 10, they're like in the low 5s or under.
Yeah. What else do we have?
Network hub, that's technology. The internet and network are not, it's town shared services.
Okay.
So if we get down to our phone line,
Yeah, are you getting rid of a phone line, or?
nope, I went up by, so it's 8929 and my budget was 9,000, so I approached the budget line.
Oh, sorry, I was looking at the network one.
Yeah, that one dropped, I was surprised. But I think he went to all virtual, or he did something. I remember him looking for equipment and doing something at one point.
Okay, but the phone's going up.
Yes, because I was approaching the budget line number.
Okay. And office supplies.
So
You
I
have to
spent
mail out all the
21,000 out
PFAS
of a 16,000 line.
PFAS letters and postage.
Yes, I had to send 2 of those. Hopefully that's the end of them, but we'll see.
That would be nice. Let's see.
And we got lots of things paid off.
Yeah,
Tools and supplies, we got a little extra there, and
Yep.
pipes and fittings.
yep.
Is that just
So
increases
the lead
overall?
brass costs a lot more than regular brass. So it's that jumped that
Oh,
line. And if you look, I've overspent. Both of those lines were grossly overspent.
Yep.
Yep.
I see that, okay.
But chemicals, water purification chemicals are steady.
Yeah.
You would think
So
that
far,
would go up
that's-
too.
At some point, they'll send me a thing and they're gonna upcharge me for the fuel. Luckily, they haven't yet, but eventually we'll get a notice that say that there'll be a surcharge for fuel.
Don't give them any ideas.
It's happened before, so,
But you'd be able to cover that.
yes. Yeah, we're under, and part of the Manley Street plant revamp will be reducing a chemical out, hopefully. So maybe it'll be a wash in the end.
Okay. Your insurance,
That's a very bad pun.
your insurance went up?
Fleet insurance.
that for
So
the
once-
accident?
So I can't, those are numbers that the town provides and it's not gonna know them till close to the end.
Oh, okay.
I've just upped them a little just to cover in case they do go up.
Mhm.
Nothing seems to be going down anymore.
No.
What's this, tank inspection?
All right, so the last quote that I got was above 10,000. My line is for 9,500. So I'm just covering what the last quote was, and it's the biggest tank that I have to inspect, so.
Okay.
You don't do that, someone outside.
No, I wish I could. I don't have the scuba equipment. I don't mind climbing to the top of the 108 feet. It would be crystal clear water. It would just be freezing cold at 55 degrees.
Say that again.
And then this is, I guess all these decreases are a result of paying off some debt?
Yep, so we've paid off a lot of debt. Manley Street is in its final payments, so that will come off the books.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah,
Yep.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's usually how
And
it
more.
works. Yeah.
You're still moving forward on the new well, right?
Yes.
Just as a little
The
aside.
replacement well, yep.
But it takes forever to do it.
That's out. It was bid. It's been contracted. The pipe is in the ground,
Really?
and it's waiting, and they just bid out, so we have the contractor, they're ordering parts. So hopefully by this summer, I have that well back online.
Is it a new well or?
No, it's a replacement of an existing one. We didn't,
Weren't you looking to go somewhere
they
else?
are looking, yes, and we need more, but right now we have so many projects going on. We have a future treatment plant for our other 5 wells, so.
Yeah.
With all of that to spend another $4 million on a future well, which is needed, it's just, there's a lot of things going on right now.
Mhm.
Wow.
Any other questions on this budget?
No.
That's a lot.
I'm a utility, and I can't be shut down, and I really need the flexibility. When something breaks, I have to be able to buy it. I can't wait 3 weeks to a month for a special town meeting, because
Yep.
there's, like I said, there's no place for me to go and get water other than going to the next town and putting it in a bucket and coming over and pouring it into the well so we can pump it out.
Do we have enough water?
We have enough water, it's just it seems everything always breaks at the same time, and it's not that I don't do my maintenance, I'm up on top of everything, it's just, it's critical items that break. The only thing that I can't have in stock is a well pump that's down on the ground or the motor attached to it, and I need a crane to pull it up and out.
But the aquifers appear to be.
The aquifers held fine. I mean,
Adequate,
we had
yeah.
plenty of rain last year, so, and even when we went through a drought year, because we can spread it out, we've been fine.
What about all the new building going on in town though?
So the commission has had a build-out study done, and we kind of know that the town's almost all built out. And the town has bought up some of the land that could be built on, which is a good thing. Instead of paying $60 million for a school, you know, it can go somewhere else.
I hope you're right.
I don't think it is, but.
No, they're gonna find more places to put houses,
Well,
believe me.
we did, and they looked at the wetlands, and a GIS person actually did it also, and she looked and placed all the wetlands in, and we're coming close to being built out. They're finding ways around the wetlands, but we're close now to being topped out.
What usually happens when you're stressing the wells, in the summertime, the water table goes down, so
Right.
the pumps are lifting the water further.
Yeah, they're working
There's
harder,
much
yeah.
more strain on them because the water has weight to it, so the pumps are working harder, and they're running longer hours. In the wintertime, you know, the water table's up, they're not lifted so hard, so nothing really breaks in the wintertime. It's when you're stressing it, and then that's when you need the water the most. When you lose a well, all of a sudden, you know, it's really bad because now you put more pressure on the other wells.
How deep are the wells? On average?
This one has about 50 feet.
They're between 50 and 60 feet.
That's all.
That's all?
Yeah.
We had one down on Sear Street, 30 feet.
I have a
Wow.
well in my backyard that's 400 and something feet.
Yeah. And
You see, we can't take that water.
Oh.
You
We can
can't
only
take-
take the water that's in the gravel.
Really?
Once we hit bedrock that the gravel sits on, we have to stop. Yeah.
Artesian wells, they call them?
Yeah,
The reason
close.
is, we can get, out of a 30-foot deep well, we can get 500 gallons a minute. And Norman Avenue, 50 feet deep, the gravel is so loose there, we surged that was running at 1,000 gallons a minute, but we run it at 500. But if you go down deep, in the rock, you're only gonna get, you know,
It
20
doesn't
gallons
pull,
a
it
minute.
doesn't
30
refill,
gallons
Really?
a minute.
recharge as
As
fast.
it comes
I
through
get
the
almost
rocks.
50.
Doesn't
Yeah.
recharge.
And
Yeah.
what DEP doesn't like about that, you don't know where that water's coming from that's in the rock. It could be coming from Vermont. You got some guy up there changing his oil, goes in the rock and it goes down through and it comes out over here. But
Just what you wanted to hear.
Right, absolutely.
Well, that's where you.
I water my
that's the
vegetables
difference
with
between rock
it.
water and gravel water. When you have pollution in the gravel, you could trace it.
Right, yeah.
You
surface
put a bunch of series of wells around your well and you find out which one of the wells is picking it up. You can follow it right out to where it's coming from. So-
But most towns, well, towns that have wells probably aren't as lucky as us either because of the water table here.
Right. Yeah, we have a good water table. The water that you drink never sees the light of day. It's not under.
I like it personally, but
Yeah, we bought most of the land that we bought up on Sear Street. I don't know if you remember back in probably 80s.
Yeah.
Probably
Yeah,
in the
that was
80s.
before
And everybody
me, yeah.
thought we were gonna break the town when we bought all Kelleher sand pits and everything. Well, that was all the gravel and the sand that we had left in the town just about. And the only other spot was up on Manley Street that we already owned. So we just wanted to make sure that they could have built houses on it. We wanted to make sure that we got it before they did. Another area that we lost is where Apple Lane or Apple Terrace and that, over by Parker's Farm.
oh yeah.
East
Yeah.
Street, Union
Yeah.
Street,
Mhm.
that's all sand and gravel over there, mostly fine sand. But there was a 300-gallon-minute well over there that we found years ago, and the town, we walked away from it because it was only 300, we were looking for 500. Now you give you right on for the
Hindsight's
300.
20/20.
But now there's a house sitting on top of it, so
Yeah.
it's gone forever. So then we decided back in the 80s there, we better grab every bit of land that's left in that sand and gravel vein that runs through that part of town, and we did,
Mm.
you know. And it's all paid for now.
That's good.
All the money we borrowed and everything, everybody thought we were gonna go broke. We didn't. We survived.
Well, I think, you know, from your first presentation a few years ago to now, it's like night and day, Wayne.
Yeah. Well, if you ask me questions, I hope that
Well,
I
you're
can answer them. I
more
think I-
prepared than, you know.
No?
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you for
Thanks
coming
a
in.
lot.
And
Thanks
if you
for
ever want to
everything
see
you
what
do.
we do, just call, ask, and
As long as the
show
water
you what we do.
plentiful and cold.
Sometimes they don't.
Thank you.
What?
He's on board with what we discussed the other day.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to update you. We had a meeting on the water line, and we were discussing the sidewalk and all that. And there was a lot of misunderstanding, but we think we got it back on route, so I just wanted to update you on what was going on with all that.
All right, I'll give you a call.
All right.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
You guys. Miss Laura.
We have the library next. Hi,
Hi.
welcome.
Thank you.
You came in, did you come in last year with Ellen?
I was on the Zoom presentation, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I forgot the Zoom.
Yes. I think we all needed a mental refresher from
Yeah.
the Zoom.
So, thanks for coming in.
My
We have
pleasure.
budget 6,100 for the library.
Thank you very much. And I prepared a statement about the library, if I may, present
Sure.
before we talk about the budgetary lines. My name is Laura Williams. I am the director of the West Bridgewater Public Library. Thank you to the Finance Committee and to Mr. Gagney for having me and giving me the opportunity to present the library budget to you all tonight. This budget I'm presenting was unanimously approved by the West Bridgewater Board of Trustees on January 26th, 2022. The Board of Trustees at the library include Chairman David Church, Vice Chairman Deborah Lancaster, Christine Altieri, Scott Ames, Christopher Lawrence, and Christine Roberts. Including myself, the library has 8 staff members and 2 volunteer greeters. Our staff members include myself, Melanie Terrell, Beth Awalt, April Edlund, Gail McCarthy, Nanette Ryan, Michelle Sheehan, and Ashley Warren. Our volunteer greeters are Connie Fiorentino and Jack White. I would like to take the opportunity to publicly thank the trustees, our staff members, and volunteers for helping to create the dynamic, innovative, and always interesting West Bridgewater Public Library. It's a place that the community members truly know and love. These last few months have been a time of transition for the library, as we have said goodbye to Director Ellen Snoyenbos as she entered her retirement in November 2021. And I have left my role as assistant director in order to lead the library as director. At the end of January 2022, we welcomed Melanie Terrell as our new assistant director, and we're all very glad to have her. To tell you more about the library is open for 45 hours a week over the course of 6 days, including Tuesday and Wednesday evening hours, and we are open all year round on Saturdays. At the West Bridgewater Library, every patron can expect a warm, hospitable environment where they can browse for books, DVDs, magazines, music CDs, and audiobooks. They can also partake in a variety of free programming that we offer, as well as the paid service of having a passport processed, if that is a service they wish to take part in. The West Bridgewater Public Library is a public institution that serves the entire community of West Bridgewater, from newborns to seniors. We have successful partnerships with the West Bridgewater schools, including teacher Mr. Dave Peckrell, a 6th grade English teacher from the Howard School, who recently brought his students to the library in 8 different sections over the course of 2 days, so that myself and our head of youth services, Nanette Ryan, could conduct book talks as a way of getting kids excited about reading and the new books that the library offers. We will also be working with Anna Mills, the Howard School social studies teacher, in order to host a living Egyptian museum that features the hard work that her students put into the posters that bring the topic of ancient Egypt to life. In addition to collaborating with schools and students, our programming features the adult programs of 2 adult book groups a month, Chapters, a fiction book group, and True Stories, a nonfiction book group that also highlights audiobooks. The Dress a Girl Around the World program is a program where library patrons can organize dress fabric that will be sewn by other patrons in order to make dresses for girls in need, both locally and internationally. For calendar year 2021, 283 people came into the library to either volunteer or drop off completed dresses. The number of dress kits checked out through the library was 818, which means 818 dresses were made that were then donated to girls in need.
I did that once. It was fun.
Yeah, it's great. It's a very fun project. The FAR program is hosted by Michelle Sheehan and Gail McCarthy and is designed to meet the needs of adults with special needs. Michelle and Gail hold these FAR, which stands for Fun and Reading, twice a month at the library, and the West Bridgewater Public Library is recognized by the Massachusetts Board of Library Commissioners as the only library in the state to offer ongoing programming to adults with special needs. These programs feature reading, crafts, movement, and dancing, and it encourages all participants to join in on the fun. Adult paint nights. Thus far, the library has hosted 3 adult paint nights, with 2 more being held on March 1st and March 2nd. Revenue money from the Passport Acceptance Program has helped make these artistic pursuits possible, and these programs, unlike paint night out at a studio or a restaurant, remain free to its participants. The after-school programs that have taken place in calendar year 2021 include Life-Size Candyland, an in-house pumpkin painting contest, learning and playing games like Zombie Dice and Splendor, painting afternoons, designing and decorating masquerade masks, and other paint classes for grades 4 and up, also made possible from our passport revenue. Additionally, an emphasis on after-school safety has been set in place this school year in order to make sure that all students that spend time in the library after school are contributing to an atmosphere of respect, equality, and civility. Routines and expectations have been set in place by myself and my staff in order to make sure that all students have the opportunity to be in a safe, collegial, and welcoming environment after school. For the youngest patrons, the library offers Sunset Story Times, an interactive read-along story time for children ages 3 through 8 that features music and movement as well as a craft or activity. Leaping Littles is a program of music and movement for littles ages 2.5 to 4 years of age, and Littles Book Club is an interactive story time for children 2.5 to 4, where each child receives a copy of the book to borrow during the program that also features music and other activities. Baby Sing and Play is the lap sit program for the youngest of the young and includes music and movement for babies ages 3 months to 18 months. All of these programs foster growth and development in our youngest patrons, as well as providing a welcoming atmosphere for their parents to participate in programs with other parents, grandparents, and caregivers. The West Bridgewater Public Library will continue to bring all of these services and more to the public in FY 2023, and we look forward to continuing to be a beacon in the community where people of all ages and abilities can learn, thrive, create, and grow.
Very good.
Thank you, that's a lot.
Excellent.
Thank you.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
And the infographic I provided in the packet is also a nice visual way to see what we do at the library and how we reach the community. So even though in January and February the library doors were still shut, we were doing curbside, we still had close to 20,000 people come into the library over the course of the year. That's in the top left. In the box right below it, that talks about our summer reading activities. So last year, we had 259 summer reading participants over 7 weeks, and those are people that participated in all 7 weeks. They didn't drop out. That's through our Beanstack program, which is a library app that we subscribe to that acts as a book tracker. And we had throughout the year, we have 315 active Beanstack users, even past the point of summer reading. And for the last calendar year, we had 3,181 individual books logged. So those 259 people logged over 3,000 books. Those books translate to raffle tickets, so we can give out prizes and games to kids, as well as adults, to help them feel like they have an incentive to reading, as well as to remain connected to the library over the summer. When our doors were shut, we created 145 book bundles last year, and we did over 1,300 curbside transactions, and those really only took place in January, February, and March. We did over 500 curbside transactions in January alone. So even when our doors are closed, we prioritize patrons, and we prioritize being a beacon in our community. We have close to 800 in-house computer sessions on our public computers. We have 4,791 instantly streamed services from Hoopla and Canopy. Those are free apps with your library card. The West Bridgewater Library, out of all the sales libraries, provides the most access to instant streaming services for those people who perhaps can't get in the library, or are just kind of are used to instant gratification and would rather watch technology on their phone or read an ebook. Through our library alone, almost 48,000 items were checked out. So 48,000 items passed through all of our hands at the library. And below that, we have about 5,600 ebooks and audiobooks through our Libby app were checked out. That's another way people can have that instant ability to read or listen to audiobooks. And our library has 5,767 active borrowers. When I put together these statistics, those borrowers can be defined as people with West Bridgewater cards that are not expired and have actively been used within the last 3 years. And this past year alone, we have 320 new card holders.
Pretty good.
Great presentation.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
So do you want to walk us through the budget a little bit?
Sure. So when we look at the budget, the first 4 lines all relate to salary. This is contractual. It's a 2% increase for all staff member positions. The bottom line, longevity, is because 2 more staff members have reached their 10-year mark. The number is reflective of that being prorated as they both work below the 35 hours a week. When we go down to janitorial property maintenance, we're asking for an increase of $1,500. When I did a budgetary analysis, I realized that our office supply line 5420, is actually where we're pulling money out of to buy things like trash can liners, paper towels, Lysol, Clorox, toilet paper that we provide to the public in our restrooms. I think it's more appropriately allocated in the janitorial property maintenance line. We hire our own janitor for the library, and these are all materials that the janitor needs to use. And it's our utmost priority to maintain good hygiene and good hygienic practice. That's also why I'm asking for an increase, because we do use quite a few paper towels and cleaning supplies, cleaning every computer after every use.
Especially a lot of kids coming through.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yep. Our next line, technology, line 5326, asking for an increase of $667. That figure for the year, that $4,667, that is the exact figure of 1 year of Comcast. So that covers our Wi-Fi, which is something that everyone depends on when they come to the library. It's something you can get in our parking lot 24 hours a day if you need to. We leave the password on the door. And that's what that figure is denoting, and that's why we're asking for the increase. It's the exact figure presented to me from Comcast. Line 5510, books and periodicals. That number reflects exact 15% of the budget, which is required through Mass state law in order for the library to receive grant money. Below, a couple lines below that, line 5730, the dues and meetings. I'm asking for a $500 increase for that. My assistant director, Melanie, and I calculated the memberships that our staff, if our staff was to all get memberships to ALA, which is the Professional Organization American Library Association, as well as the MLA, which is Massachusetts Library Association, that comes to just over $1,100. The remaining funds would be used so that we can actually send people to virtual conferences. I really believe in professional development and professional development opportunities. We have an excellent staff and a small staff of just 8, and I really want to foster their growth and give them the opportunity to be a part of these organizations, especially the MLA, because the MLA always holds local conferences where they can go and present. And it will really, I think, incentivize them to potentially present in the future as well. And that's why we see the increases.
Okay. Any questions on this budget?
Janitorial services, you could probably answer it, Dave. In each facility, are they different companies?
Yeah.
And there's a reason why we do that, or?
Well, the library trustees have care and custody of the library, so they'll hire it on their own. And then we had actually the same company for years, but we ended up going out to bid and changed to a different company.
Okay.
So, I mean, what's really funny is the company that we had here was also the same one at the COA, but there was 2 different cleaners.
Yeah.
And we weren't happy with the services here, but they were excellent over there. And we tried to get the other
Depends on the crew.
Exactly, and they couldn't give up that crew, the mother company, if you will. So bottom line is everybody just has a little bit different, but I think we all do a pretty good job of keeping the places clean and doing the best we can to
And
maximize the dollars.
we wouldn't gain any cost savings by nothing substantial anyway.
I don't believe so.
Probably not. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you're doing a lot of great work here. Any other questions on this budget?
Out of one.
Great. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Have anything else that you feel like it is lacking? Everything's covered?
This certainly covers our upcoming fiscal year. I think that, the small tweaks will make for a great year ahead.
Okay.
about your
great.
terminals and so forth? I assume they're working all right, the computer terminals?
Yes, we have a really strong internet connection, which is great. The Wi-Fi is working great. The Wi-Fi is so good at the building that it's nice we can even access it outside. So when we did library on the lawn last year, it was because we had the opportunity to like check out books on the lawn.
If the hardware is in good shape?
The hardware is in good shape. The building itself is 30 years old, so so
The new library?
yeah, so it's a brand new library, but we just had our 30th anniversary. So in terms of technology, I don't foresee any issues with any of our cable lines or Ethernet lines. In the future, I think we have to think more about the building itself. Thus far, it's holding up well. It did pretty well in our nor'easter. It had a little bit of siding damage that was very easy to fix.
Yeah.
But technology-wise, we're in very good standing.
Well, it's certainly become a huge community resource, and
Yeah. Yeah.
everyone enjoys it, so, especially me.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Yes,
We
my
appreciate
pleasure.
it. Thanks for
you.
everything you do.
Thanks, Laura.
Thank you.
I'll have to come and do some more of those dresses. It was fun.
Oh, yes, please. On Tuesday nights, if you're ever available, we're open until 8 o'clock, and we often do pop-up dress-a-girls. So we'll just bring out the fabric, and patrons come and see, and they say, what is this? And we say, come, like, we'll show you what to put together, and you'll put it in a package, and
Yeah,
we'll put it in a nice Ziploc.
Yeah, it was
So,
great. It was a
Yeah,
good, it was
it's a
fun.
great opportunity to feel good and to participate in something so community-based.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're
Have
welcome.
a great night.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Laura.
So what do we have left? The
Assessor.
The
assessors.
assessor, so the assessor is here. I just texted him, however, he is waiting for Steve McCarthy to accompany him, so.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to take a recess, because we've covered everything else.
Yeah, can we do that, Ben? Just take a little break?
Just take a motion and a vote.
Oh, can I have a motion to
I'll
take a
make a
recess?
motion to have a recess.
Second.
Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you, Mo. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Can I play hopscotch now?
You guys got?
It's past my bedtime.
Are we early, late, or in
So,
between?
well,
Late.
should
Late.
we?
No, we're 8:05, right? Was it 8:05?
Motion.
You don't need a motion. Mark, you jump in, chair. Yeah, absolutely.
Ben, are you all set? Okay, thank you. So we are going to call the session back into session. We have the Board of Assessors here
Okay, thank you.
to present their budget. Welcome. Who's going to go through it, Steve?
Yeah, well, both of us, but I'll
Okay.
start anyways.
Okay.
We can go through on our budget for requested for FY '23. Some of the lines show a requested increase over the previous year.
Mm-hmm.
So I can start with that, and then obviously if you have any questions on that or any other thing, that's what we're
Okay.
here for. The first one is it's important to the office. Actually, it's the second one, but appointed official, we'll start with that. That's John's position as principal assessor.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking for, over last year, a 2.5% increase, or roughly about $2,200. So from FY '22 to '23. And one of the selectmen asked last night about, do we have some type of survey? I don't on paper, but I definitely have, I've talked, as you probably heard 1,000 times, in the course of my business, I travel to a lot of, like today I was in 2 different town halls, and I get to know the principal assessors or some of the board members. And on the request for John's position anyways, in the amount of the $90,645, that's certainly probably in the middle of the target area. I mentioned a couple of communities last night, and the mistake I made a couple of years ago, I alluded to that last night, was I actually had a hard copy of a survey that we did. I don't know if we did it or upstairs did it, and I made a mistake by saying, of course, the perception with that survey, I started with Hingham, which is like, everybody, when you think of Hingham in that part of the world over there, of course it's going to be high because it's, it's Hingham and Cohasset, and that's not the case, but I happened to start with that one, which was on the higher end of the survey. And then I covered some of the communities, mostly Plymouth County. I left Brockton out because I was there for 1,000 years, and it's the only city in Plymouth County, and they have a 3-man full-time board, which was helpful to me and my co-workers there. But for the communities similar to West Bridgewater, East Bridgewater, and the Avon and such, Easton, I looked around, and I can truly attest to the fact that the request of $90,000 is right in the ballpark.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I'm biased. In my opinion, sitting on this side of the table here, I think it's probably low, but it is what it is. Okay?
So did I hear a rumor about retiring? Are you planning to retire?
I'll confirm that rumor May 1st.
Yeah.
Confirm the rumor. May
Yeah.
1st, you're going to retire.
So we'll
Confirm
set in
or
motion.
non-confirm?
We'll set in motion to try to bring somebody in that has the same qualifications as John. Another thing is too, just a 2-second thing, is that it's a good point to bring it up. Is that when we interviewed for John's job, I had known John from the old days. He was down in Wareham for a lot of years. We interviewed 6 people for the position. And 2 of them I mentioned last night to the selectmen that we interviewed. We weren't interested in their services. They went on to work for neighboring communities right in this immediate area. And both of them, God love them, I could see that they really weren't for the town of West Bridgewater. They went to neighboring communities, and both of them didn't last 6 months. Story to be told is that you get what you pay for. So a lot of people come in, they might be appraisers or management and such. And with this small community, you don't get a lot of help. There's nobody. I try to do my best in holding them by the hand, but they went to neighboring communities, and they were gone in 6 months, because now from the old days, there's a lot that goes into it, between the revaluation stuff and the Department of Revenue and the town managers and all that good stuff. There's a lot to go into it, so payment for services rendered, should be such that it'll attract some good people.
Isn't that contractual though, 2.5? Isn't that built into your contract?
No, well, not his. It could be, it's not a union job.
No, but most salary people have contracts too.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that,
My contract ends this year, so there's.
right.
It wouldn't apply.
But I see what you're saying, Mo, but it's not, like the unions have, they've negotiated,
Yeah, oh,
yeah,
no, I know
yeah.
that, yeah,
So-
I didn't know if yours was
Right.
contract call for 2.5,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
there it is.
But in the end, Steve's entirely right. The $90,000 is kind of in the sweet spot. That's about the
Yeah,
right range.
yeah.
It should
Yeah.
attract some people. It
Yeah.
won't be on the high end. It won't be on the low end.
So-
Yeah.
But I think the assessors are correct that that's the right number to
All right.
target.
So that's the goal, is to be able to establish a salary that would be attractive to someone.
Yeah, because to get somebody decent, no, I'm not saying good, just decent, right? They're probably going to leave another community to come here. Because, at the end of the day, there's nothing like, having somebody with that municipal experience. It's worth its weight in gold because there's so much stuff going on.
No one's gonna argue with
Yeah,
that.
Okay.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
okay. And the next is which, John and I and the board have talked about, our clerk, we want to, I guess, I'd ask David, we don't have a head clerk's position. And we want to take Daniela, who's in our office, who's done exceptional work. She's been here how long now?
Almost 3 years.
Almost, I thought it was longer than that. It's the type of thing where she's taken the courses, has a vested interest in us because she's, trying to move forward in the assessing field and such, and she does a hell of a job. So we wanted to reclassify her, title in order to give her a pay grade bump or whatever, however that works. And what we're looking for with Daniela is an increase, for FY23 of roughly about $9,900 or a little over 12%.
So is this $90,000 for one clerical, or do you have two
Two,
folks?
with a full and a part-timer. Are she part-time? Or a little
Yes,
bit, yeah.
35 and 25.
Yeah. I'm sorry if I asked him, but I'm only elected, so I'm not really, I try to be in that stuff, but,
And just to clarify, Steve, the $9,958 is advancing one clerk from principal secretary to head secretary,
Okay.
plus cost of living for both clerks.
the union bumps?
Includes all of those
Yeah.
numbers.
Okay.
And what's the level of the other person in the office?
As what, her,
You said principal to
They're
head.
currently
What's-
both principal.
They're both
secretaries.
principal.
right, yeah.
And one
So
should
wouldn't
be
they
head
get
secretary.
a step anyway with the union agreement?
One does.
COLA
Yeah.
plus, is that what
One does,
COLA
yeah.
is?
Sorry?
What's the increase?
Well, cost of
this
living is a
year?
union negotiation, and then there's a step increase for the 25-hour employee.
Okay.
Is she maxed out on that, on the step increase?
The junior clerk is not.
No, okay, I know that, yeah,
Senior clerk is.
yeah. Okay. So that's it with the personal services. The longevity, John's the only one that qualifies for that, and we have in our thing here, there's no increase there because, John's about to retire. I don't know exactly if that's prorated or how that works, but the most it would have been was $300, the longevity payout for his time. So I'm not sure where we're going with that, but it's not, a lot of money in relationship to our total budget.
I'm the only one that qualifies for it currently.
Is
The
that-
new employee would have to be here for 5 years before.
Oh, 5 years? I
they
thought it
would
was
qualify
10.
for the
Okay.
longevity.
The next one, I want to, take a couple seconds to talk about it because
Yeah, this is
it was important to us.
a line that's
It-
got
it
a
was-
lot
it-
of attention.
It was, and first of all, we'll talk about it, but, it's through, you come down here, you try to do the best job you can, there's not a full understanding of what we do for a living and such. We were looking for, last year, the Department of Revenue, there was a mandate that now the cities and towns will do their own personal property for the utility companies, their own appraisal work. Before that was done by the DOR, and, that's saved on requesting from our vendor, Patriot, or whoever, a cost for, doing the utilities. We built it in, but the Department of Revenue handled the public utilities. We looked for $7,500, and because I guess there was a common theme that we wanted to go, level services or what, level services or, what was it, Dave?
Yeah, level services.
Level services, okay. So that money wasn't allocated to us
You mean last year?
last year, right? And we looked for it real hard. We talked to David and such, and unfortunately, it didn't go through. you know? And I understand that nobody got level services, and every department's gonna say, well, ours was different, and in this case, it really was, because the growth on those utilities every year, I don't have the exact figures, but the growth would have been, that's above the Prop 2.5 amount we collect, would have been substantial. I've been doing this a long time. I'm not a personal property or utilities guy, but they always work that way. So by using the $7,500 that we asked for, we would have gone out and had a private appraisal done, if you will, and on the money received back to the town, it would have definitely, paid itself probably 3, 4, 5, 6 times over. So now what happens, we didn't do that, and now there's an appellate tax, but there's an appeal by that utility. I can have John find out which one. There's 3 of them that get done. So that they've now appealed it.
Appeal on what?
Their tax bill for
assessment.
FY22.
They appeal every year though, right?
But it goes usually to the Department of Revenue. So now the onus is with the community. So now we have to, because neither John or I are, anything, the furthest from an expert as you're going to get. So what happens now, that'll be handled either through negotiations or through the appellate tax board as that goes.
So are you saying that we set the rate without the assistance of the consultant, and now they're appealing what we set last year?
The value, right.
The value.
Yeah, and so what happens, it has to be adjudicated, maybe go to trial. I'm not sure. Those things work funny in different ways. But I guess what I'm saying, by the lack of the $7,500, which is through no fault of your own, because there's no full understanding of it. Even I have trouble with it. But through lack of not funding that and not getting the private appraisal, we're now facing litigation in court. And, the expert, the $7,500, John had talked to the vendor, which is good at, and we got a volume deal as far as their fee goes. If we hired an expert now to do this, the one appraisal will probably be $15,000, $20,000. And then it has to go into court and all that good stuff. So by not getting that serviced up and ready through our own dealings last year, it's now at the appellate tax board, and we're going to try our best to negotiate that, but we might need some assistance from an outside expert. Long story short is that it's of the things that over the years I've been there, asking for different stuff over the years. This one here I can see is the most needed because neither John or I have really no expertise in that.
Okay.
So that's all that. So we're looking for that increase.
Utilities.
Utilities. Yeah.
Yeah. So they will appraise the utilities for the value that we should tax.
Yeah, the Department of Revenue used to do it. Now the onus is with the individual communities.
Okay. And with respect to what we set last year, are we going to incur some kind of fees, legal fees, or anything to now?
Well, we're going to talk to them.
That?
We're going to talk to them. See what has to be done to handle that case.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I've seen in these, not so much this, but other things on excise and stuff, that if somebody takes the time to go to court, one time there was a big case settled, and it was Westford, and they advertised the fact of what happened, and we kind of the communities will fall in line, knowing that the appellate tax board has now set case precedent. So sometimes with something like this, that's kind of an enigma, if you will, we can follow in on that. I'm not saying we're going to do that, but it's just that by not having that and done properly, if you will, it's just going forward. It just it's something that we really don't want to look at, but we're going to have to.
So did we increase their valuation or something last year?
I'm not sure, but the
this?
rate. Did the value go up? Did we look at that yet? Even look at that stuff?
The values are based on if I could back up.
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand what happened last year. So they were valued by the state, and then
by us. We had to stay with the previous year value, right?
By our revaluation.
Yeah, but they were valued by our vendor, but we didn't pay to have a, like, if you will, a fee, like stuff I do, an individual fee appraisal on it. So
I gave you a handout to try to help all of us really get through understanding where we are in the process and where we hopefully will be going. So you can see there's a summary there from the former chairman of the Board of Assessors in the city of Springfield. These cases historically go back to, I believe, 1998. They've worked their way through the appellate tax board system, and arguments were heard today, this morning, oral arguments were heard at the appeals court, which is the next level above appellate tax board and before the Supreme Judicial Court. Precedence is with us, but as Steve said, the Department of Revenue used to endorse a formula of net book value, just replacement cost of the equipment minus depreciation, and that's how it was done historically. Last year, the Department of Revenue required the 50-50 formula, which is net book value and, as it explains in there, the other half of the formula. That's what these appraisals would be based on going forward. So in answer to your question, last year, it was based solely on net book value and not the new formula.
Okay.
So where we're gonna end up in the appellate tax board process, hard to say, but more than likely, we will have to hire an appraiser, as Steve said. Could be, you know, I think it's a fair estimate to say $20,000 litigation costs is a lot of money involved there.
The bottom line here is that, you know, like anything in my business, like if when utilities see, you know, it's been done by the Department of Revenue, there's a lot more weight put on that than, by the town of, Rehoboth, and who do they have doing such. So there's a lot more merit and weight with the utility if it comes from the Department of Revenue versus the local community.
Yeah, what I'm trying to understand is, did we increase their value and thus their tax? Is that what they're appealing, or just that we didn't use the right formula, or?
It's a multiple part answer.
Okay.
And there are a lot of questions built into your question. So last year, we appraised them at, as I said,
I would guess in a second that because now the owners of the communities, it was probably a blanket file for every community.
Okay.
And attorneys will, like say on Kohl's department stores, they'll file in every Kohl's they have and throw out the ones that they don't like.
Okay.
Just to cover that.
So the utility companies file every year.
Okay.
Okay, and they tell us what they believe their growth is.
Of course.
And then,
Yeah.
and then the Department of Revenue would review it and give it generally its blessing. As of last year, we're supposed to do that in-house, as Steve said.
Okay.
So they did give us their value, and they give us different values every year, because they bring equipment in and they take equipment offline. So in answer to your question, yes, we increased their value based on their reportings to our evaluation company. And we
They
will
said-
defend those values.
Okay.
But they're probably significantly less than what they would be if we had these appraisals performed going
Okay.
forward.
Now, there's gonna be a quiz at the end of this, so pay attention,
Well,
okay?
no, so I'm just
It's
wondering.
it's a tough, it's a tough.
I'm just wondering if we're gonna have to fight some battle. I don't see any money in here to do that, so where would that come
Legal
from?
fees.
No, so their appellate tax board cases, so whenever we need to incur litigation, comes out of the legal budget.
Okay, so it
So it
doesn't
doesn't-
have.
That's what we're trying to avoid that, you know?
Okay.
Doesn't John go to the appellate board, though?
Yes, I do.
I mean, would you go on something like this,
No.
or it's not your area?
No,
I mean, I would go and, as the principal assessor.
Yeah.
Not as the expert,
But
yeah.
not as the expert.
yeah.
Okay.
We tried that, and they'll toss you in a second, you have to qualify yourself and, give us your
Okay.
personal property background,
Yeah, no, I understand.
Yeah.
In a
Okay.
case like this, you really almost have to be an engineer, electrical engineer or some type of engineer.
Okay.
All right, so moving on, on the next line, the last one for increases on the line 5398, and the increase was $700, and that refers to, it's for contractual services, which covers, I'm sorry, did I get that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. The increase comes from, under contractual services, for the Patriot software license, not their revaluation contract, which is different, but their licensing, and that goes up a little bit every year, and the copy machine maintenance contract. So those two items, the contractual services total, the
13.5.
13.5, and the increase is about $700, probably, without having the breakdown, probably for the Patriot software license. So those, that was the last line item we're looking for an increase of 23. The increase is down, the bottom line is, the increase is total $20,069. for our departmental budget of $263,044. The 20,000 represents about a little over 8% increase.
Okay. And so what about the comp time? I don't see anything budgeted in here for some comp time that might be owed.
When I retire, I would, whatever unused comp time, sick time, vacation time, and personal days, I believe, would all be paid out. Like, I don't want to speak for David, I believe that's in the selectmen's budget.
So vacation, we put in benefits, we pay out vacation time and sick time.
Okay.
We do not pay out comp time out of that. So we'll have to, I don't know what your comp time numbers are, but we don't pay comp time out of that budget.
Can I say this though?
Would it be this one? Or you don't know for
That's
sure?
what we're asking, I think, is there's nothing in here for that.
Can I say something?
Because that wouldn't be for fiscal '23. That would be current. There
Current.
would be no budget for that.
We were asked last night, you know, and for lack of a better thing, I'm an elected to the board here, and I don't have my hands in everything. But I will say this, that and put together that stuff for David and the HR and put together the numbers. That's something that he told the selectmen last night to have it done pronto. But I do want to say that, getting back to 1 second for the appellate tax board cases, that we recently, John and I, a lot of work with John, I did some of it, we settled a big case at no charge to the community except for, John's paycheck. It was a big one for a couple of years. We did a lot of work on it and some other stuff like that. So I'm not saying, he's busy like we all are, and it's probably no excuse not to have it done by now, but that was part of the thing. And also, I alluded, we had a couple of meetings with the selectmen and David. John's gone through some some sickness problems. So between that, and I said to him, basically, we have a lot of big cases left when he decides to retire here. I was trying to get some of that stuff cleaned up. On the moment just settled, we spent considerable time on it, and I did it at my own expense, but that's what I tried to do here. And we got the case withdrawn for nothing. And expert qualifying, nothing. So we did spend a lot of time on that. And I'm not saying that should stop him from doing what the town manager asked for, but that was definitely, I put it to the top of the list of prioritize and try to get that done before he leaves on his retirement.
Yeah, no, I'm just wondering where the funds are gonna come from.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I'm not sure of that. Yeah.
Steve alluded to it, and it's taken me a little while to wrap my head around what I would have gone through to talk about it publicly, but I was diagnosed with cancer last year, and I had 2 major surgeries. So it just put me behind in all of my work, and it's an anomaly to see comp time accumulated at the rate that it was this year. But it's really just me doing my best effort to get the work done on time and to meet deadlines.
I do remember back when you came on full-time, and one of the points was so that you could spend more time in the appellate court. Because we were giving into cases that maybe we could have won. And I remember saying a year or two ago, do you have a number for that? Because the taxpayers in town, if you can say I saved $100,000,
Well,
because
we kind of do.
This is what they want to hear. They want to hear what you saved.
Unfortunately, we can't get it down to the exact nickel and dime. Because,
close, even close.
But what was that on the thing we just went over? How many years?
Giggling a little bit.
You know what I mean.
Because I was.
If you hadn't gone, we would have lost.
He was working on that when I walked in tonight.
You've heard this before.
Yeah, and I was working on that list today. And I made some notes for Steve.
Yeah, we kind of pressed on some of the larger cases. In our small community, there's not there's some bigger industrial commercial pieces. Which for me that's what I do for a living, so it's no problem trying to work into those things.
And I'm again assuming if John wasn't here, they would appeal and win because there's no one to fight
John
for us.
John is that good, right? Yeah.
There was now.
I have something to say about that, but
now that he's here,
yeah.
I'm interested in what we've.
Sure. We estimate, just roughly, hopefully within 10% each way, between the legal cost, which is like everything else, it's exorbitant.
Right.
Okay. And also, it's hard to say, but we, in negotiating either out-of-court settlement or like last one I just mentioned, there was no change. Over the last, how long is this for? How many years? Going back, 5 or 6?
5 or 6.
Yeah.
There's more, but
Yeah. It's roughly about $400,000. And that's,
That we probably would never have seen had John not been engaged.
yeah, and, I'm not gonna.
Roughly,
right,
not to the dollar, I
Yeah.
understand.
Right, a lot of that, we just went to court, and we used an outside expert on it for a couple of years case. And between the amount, we lost, and actually, we did get 1 year, with John and I working on that, we got 1 year nixed, but that wasn't too hard to do. But in the couple of years that was tried, along with the attorneys, I don't know, town council, and also one of the top experts in the Commonwealth on this stuff, we probably what, $70,000-$80,000, and that's with me. That's with us saying we don't want to pay you interest. That's what we like to do that because the interest pays out. It's funny how it works that when we pay you out, it was instituted back in 1980. We pay you 8%, but when you're late for your tax bill on your property or something, we charge you 14%. So, anyways, on these big cases, part of my settlement criteria is, and I don't know if I've heard a lot of guys don't do it, is I press upon it that we don't want to pay you interest because 8% is a lot of dough on some of this money, So, with the saving the interest, the legal fees, and it might have gone a different direction if we tried it. Roughly $350,000, $400,000. Okay.
I would, as a suggestion, when you go to the town meeting, somehow get that number out in front of the public.
Yeah, just something.
Because when you come in looking for money here, but you say, look at what we saved.
Yeah. And we have a couple of real big ones that are gonna be, I don't know if they're gonna be litigated, but because they get the number, they have like 6 or 7 years in, then it starts to add up.
Let's say that again.
Yeah,
Ooh.
yeah. And it's good too, because we have a good work relationship with some of the attorneys that handle these things. Like my days in Brockton, John, a million years in. So that definitely helps. Let's cut the crap, pardon my French, and let's get to the point here. You gotta work with me, I gotta work with you. Let's be, reciprocal here. So it works out pretty good that way for us.
Good.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming in.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Sorry for extending our time, but there's a lot going on here, so, yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. I hope you're feeling better.
Yeah, thanks.
thank you very much.
You guys do a great job, I appreciate it, really. I've been doing this a long time, so I know what I see, and it's very good. I
Great.
appreciate it, thank you.
Great.
Appreciate
Thank
your kind
you.
words. Thank you.
Hey, guys.
Appreciate your
See you
time.
later.
Oh, any chance I can get a couple signatures off you? Do I have time for re-election?
For checks?
Yeah, for checks, definitely.
Call the meeting closed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We'd have to close.
Do I have a motion to
Oh, no,
adjourn?
never mind, if you gotta close, you gotta.
No, that's okay.
You're the last one.
Oh, I am? Oh, then close up, let's go.
Thank you, Scott. Do you have a
I
second?
have a second.
I'm sorry, is
Thank
that gonna
you,
be a
Cheryl.
yes to? Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed?